Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Hi guys! Okay, I'm taping this late at night. We just finished emptying out the house. I am exhausted. Ugh, I can't wait to hand these keys over. Like I'm done. Like stick a fork in me. This is going to be one of my shorter videos. We do have a lot of small stories to cover, so we're just going to get in, give our information, get out. You know how I operate. There's Charles, there's Anne, and there's Mr. Bouzy again. This is like more than I ever thought. This is like outer limits. So let's just jump in with both feet and cover our stories today, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start with the Hearts of Arabia expedition. They put up a tweet. Their expedition across the desert heartland of Arabia was launched by the Princess Royal. And in the picture you're about to see, the princess is meeting their HRH prince. I'm not going to insult this person by trying to pronounce that name, but yeah, I love the picture. Moving on. All right, next up, Prince William is going to attend the United for Wildlife Global Summit October 4th, where over 300 global leaders from finance, transport, and conservation networks are going to look at the impact of their ongoing work to end the illegal wildlife trade. I think that's fabulous. Go, William. All right, Charles put out his first message since he ended the royal mourning period that was linked to his mother. It was a very nice, heartfelt message sent out about Storm Fiona and all the devastation that it has caused. And in the message, he thanked the first responders, the community members, police, fire, everybody who banded together to help, which I think, again, you can freeze the screen and read it. It's a wonderful message. All right, moving on. All right, the date when King Charles will appear on banknotes has been confirmed. Now, I don't know how this works. We don't change money like you guys do, but my question is, I'm assuming the money that has Queen Elizabeth's portrait on it is still good, or does that become collector's edition, or how does that work? I don't know, but apparently he's going to start appearing on the money in 2024. Wonderful. All right, next. All right, I am happy to report that Camilla and Princess Beatrice have now been promoted to counselors of state. One of them took his spot, and the other two people they were looking to replace were Andrew and Harry. So if they promoted both of them, then if I'm doing the math in my head correctly, then either Andrew or Harry has been replaced, but I have been unable to figure out which one's been replaced, but I'm going to keep looking. All right, let's move on. All right, the stories are now coming out about what really happened on the day that everybody flew to, Scotland to see the Queen. And now it's coming out that or it's being reported that Harry was supposed to be on the plane, but the plane was delayed because of the fight with Harry and Meghan. So William and Edward and everybody else who was on that plane was also delayed getting to Balmoral Castle because of the fight that went on between Harry and Meghan. I'm assuming they got tired of waiting for them. Time was of the essence. And so they took off without Harry, which is why Harry had to make his own flight arrangements, which is why he didn't make it there in time. Of course, he could have seen the Queen 3 days earlier when they invited him, remember? And he blew her off. Yeah, I wonder if he's going to ever... I think he's going to regret that for the rest of his life. All right, next up. Harry and Meghan have been demoted on the line of succession on the royal family's website. They are like below the Queen's cousin who's listed number 56. Like they're at the bottom of the pile. And everybody's like, why? Well, they're not working royals. Why would they be at the top? They're not working royals anymore. Quite frankly, I think they're lucky to even still be on the website because their bios are, we're upholding the Queen and we're blah, blah, blah. None of which they did. And after they attacked the family, I'm still shocked they're even on there. I'm also going to add, I've shown you this tweet before. People now want proof that Meghan gave birth to those kids. And of course, now, just FYI, that they've been moved to the bottom of the list. Now they're concerned that they're being eased out of the royal family. These are the kind of stories that get me. It's like you've insulted the family, you lied about the family, you made all these unfounded claims against the family. What the heck did you think was going to happen? They were just going to let you continue to march off of them? Like, do these people not have half a brain? It just boggles my. Now they're worried? Give me a break. Oh my God. All right, Harry and Meghan are home, but they have delayed their return to work, as they call it. I don't know what they're talking about, but the reason that they've delayed, I should say Meghan's return to work, because she's really the only one doing anything with the podcast, is because she's going through the podcast with a fine-tooth comb, trying to remove anything that would be negative of the royal family. Harry's trying to change his memoir, and he's been warned that they're going to cut his pay by half if he stops the attacks on his family. Because let's face it, people, that's really what he was being paid for. He was being paid to attack his family in the book and talk trash. And if he doesn't do it, it's over for him. And that's why the blind item is coming out saying that the two of them are fighting over the direction of some of the episodes and his book. And the fights are apparently very epic. And of course, they didn't expect the Queen to die. Yeah. Okay, moving on. All right, Valentine Lowe, he's the gentleman that wrote that book, Courtiers, about the bullying allegations. And he's the one that when Harry and Meghan found out that he was going to put that article in the news, they sent him a legal letter threatening legal action if he did the article. He did the article anyway. Legal action never ensued because you can't sue when something is the truth. Just like they haven't sued Tom Bower's book either. Anyway, they're saying that this book, Courtiers, is essentially the unofficial bullying report. Yes, I can't wait to read it. It's also being reported now that when the staff became very upset and was crying, it was William who let them cry on his shoulder and who stepped up for them. Go, William. All right, this story really took me by surprise. I showed you guys in previous videos a different bodyguard they had hired that had been fired. I believe it was Michael Jackson's family. They found that he'd been abusive to his wife. He had domestic violence stuff. Well, here's another bodyguard that works with Harry and Meghan. He's an ex-Met police officer, and he was convicted of choking his wife that left her seconds away from death. And yet they've hired this man. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Look at the size of this guy. Isn't Meghan Markle always speaking out about women's rights? Isn't she always speaking out against, domestic violence? And she and Harry. And yet this is the second bodyguard they've hired that it's been proven by court records has been violent towards their spouse. I don't get it. Like, don't they vet these people before they hire them?
I always thought that these uber wealthy people who hire staff like this, check them before they hire them. They do background checks. What happened?
And I completely agree with this statement. For a couple who's so paranoid about security and they have young children, their choice is very curious, especially since Meghan supposedly champions women's rights, especially gender-based violence. Spot on. All right, guys, here we go. Shouty Shola, she went on a show. They were supposed to be talking about Prince Charles, and she starts going on about the crown and Meghan. Good for Jeremy Vine, because he literally cut her off and said, we're not here to talk about Meghan. We're here to talk about Charles. Like, get on topic, woman. Love it. All right, guys, we're going back to Christopher Bouzy again. This stuff that's going on is just making my head spin. I'm having trouble keeping up with it, but some of it is just my jaw is dropping. Apparently, Mr. Bouzy is saying that he met somebody for coffee at the beginning of 2020 before the pandemic. And this woman, spent 2 hours asking him questions about mis and disinformation. And she had a pad and she wrote everything down. To which this woman, who, by the way, is a PhD, wrote, yes, we did meet in 2020 because you asked me to promote Bot Sentinel, and I had a notebook. I was leading a disinformation reporting project, and you were hoping to use my status to boost your project. But little did I know the big disinfo story was sitting right across the table from me. It's like, are you kidding? What are the chances? Like, that's, wow. I mean, my socks were blown off. So, of course, Mr. Bouzy continues to tweet. We know how he is, and he's writing things like this. Imagine tweeting this after multiple people called you out for lying. I'll let others decide who is more credible based on what is released. That's actually not a smart thing for him to say, especially now. So Mr. Bouzy, you know how he does. He insults people and then he blocks them. So as you can see below, he blocked her. But she wrote, I'm just going to keep reporting you. I have all the DMs, including the 8 times you asked me to meet up with you and the 0 times I asked for a meeting with you. You picked the wrong woman to lie about. Snap. Then she wrote, and thank you to all the people DMing me stuff, but I don't care. She's like, I got more important things in my life, like picking lint out of the dryer. Yeah. Then she wrote that Mr. Bouzy has a pattern of doing this, particularly to women. He posts misleading private DMs without consent, but threatens to post more weaponized content, seemingly to intimidate and silence me. Abusive users should not have API access. Yes, that is a pattern of behavior. Then he readily admits that he's in cahoots with Twitter. He readily admits he's got Twitter followers, he knows who to contact, therefore it was always going to end this way. Yes, I don't think Twitter realizes how deep in it they are. They're going to be in big trouble. Even the umbrella guy said that the Twitter employees were helping in the targeted harassment of others led by Christopher Bouzy, who's currently being sued. Now, this is where things get very interesting because some information came to light today about Jason Goodman's lawsuit because I was wondering what was happening. So Nate, the lawyer, comes out today and puts up what's going on with Jason Goodman's lawsuit. The fact that Mr. Bouzy's in his house, he refuses to open the door. Remember that picture I showed you where he called the police and he put up a picture and he said these crazies are stalking me and it turned out it was the process server? Yeah, it was. I was absolutely correct. But apparently he's avoiding being served, and so the case hasn't gone forward because Mr. Bouzy's claiming he wasn't properly served. But there's enough proof to show that he's been evading being served. So next thing they're going to do, they said, is put a notice in the paper. That'll probably be the next thing, and you can't avoid that one. So he doesn't want to go to court because he's going to lose. He knows he's going to lose. So now Nate, the attorney, seeing what this is going on, is probably going to circumvent all of this for his service. Oh my God, I got to keep watching this. In the meantime, he's not going to stop his behavior. He's tweeting false accusations and smear campaigns against this PhD woman. He's tweeting Russian propaganda. You know, she ought to join in a separate lawsuit. I mean, could you imagine if like the umbrella guy and like if all these different people filed lawsuits, what would happen to him? Oh my goodness. Anyway, we know how Mr. Bouzy works. What he does is he writes to you and he gets you inflamed and upset, then he deletes his tweets, they mass report you, and that's how they get your account, which is why I don't respond to him. I blocked him. I don't respond to anything he says. I don't mass tweet anything. I don't send DMs, nothing. You guys need to just ignore him. And as far as that whole breaking the EU laws and tracking and all of that, the botsentinel.com was apparently analyzed to see if it was compliant with the EU regulations. And guess what? Ooh, wait for it. It's non-compliant. You know, I would think that Twitter would be worried about the fees and the fines, but apparently they've already been fined 2 years ago 400,000 euros. What is that? $600,000 for breaking EU data law. Maybe next time they need to hit them with a higher amount. All right, I'm going to end with this picture of Finn's nose sticking right out from under the blanket. The temperature here has really dropped at night, so he gets under the blanket and stays under there and just sticks his nose out. You guys know how he sleeps at this point. All right, so lots and lots of different stories, but I still want your comments on all of them and I want your thought process, okay? So don't forget to leave those comments below. Don't forget to hit the button, all right, to be notified when I upload videos. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter, Getter, Rumble. You can email me. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund or through my thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.